Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Ladies Talking Leafs. We're mixing it up a bit today. I'm Sil, and...
I'm Chris, and yes, because I could not get out that part about Season 2, Episode 1. Sorry. For some reason. Anyway, so I told Sil to do it. She did a great job. I'm giving her the thumbs up. And...
Thank you.
And we are actually... gonna just start with congratulating our anniversary winner. Last month was our first anniversary of the podcast, and we want to give a shout out to the contest winner, Laura. Her Twitter handle is, I think it was Instagram handle was at Music Chick Art, and she chose a $50 Amazon gift card. So woohoo! She was really excited. It was great. And
congratulations, Laura.
Congratulations, Laura. So now we're into Season 2.
Yes, and it's kind of good timing. And we always thought we would time our seasons with the NHL seasons. Now, this is not actually going according to how we normally would be, but right now, we should be on the eve of the start of the season, but that is not happening. But at the same time, we are into what would be what's leading up to the next season. So, without any further ado, let's congratulate the Tampa Bay Lightning on their Stanley Cup win. That officially closes the last season.
Yeah.
And now that the playoffs are over. What are a couple of things that you remember the most from this season and the Stanley Cup tournament as it unfolded? What were the highlights for you?
Three things. They weren't really highlights because nothing's a highlight once the Leafs are out. But
yeah, that's true.
First of all, actually, I can't believe Kevin Bieksa on the Sportsnet panel.
Mm-hmm.
That one of I never thought that I would actually like his analysis, but he actually brought something different to the, I guess, panel there on Sportsnet or Hockey Night in Canada. So
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
So, I definitely like that. And the other thing I thought it was kind of funny though was the hype about seeing the players in their like whatever they were wearing kind of thing when they came in. It seems like that just fell off the map. Like once the Leafs were out, nobody really mentioned it, but don't you remember how everybody was going crazy about it?
Yeah, going into it. Yeah, it was the whole thing of style and, who's going to show, who's going to show their own personal style and all that. Yeah.
It seemed like come the second round, whatever, like nobody mentioned that again. And it wasn't shown like too much. Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny.
That's
I just
true.
thought that it was kind of strange. And then the third thing, I actually I think it was a couple of days ago, Luke Shen winning the Stanley Cup with Tampa. So he was drafted by the Leafs way back on in the actually I didn't write down the year. Oh my God, I wanted to be better with stats and stuff like that. Anyways, I know he was drafted 5th overall by the Leafs, and yeah, so he had an interview and he's finally won the cup. He's 30 years old now. And I liked seeing him finally get the big win. And what about you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. You know what? I actually, in my mind, sadly, has already moved on from this. As soon as the Leafs were out, I don't think I retained anything as far as anything that exciting. You know what? One of the things that I liked, and this is kind of a bit of I don't know if this is going to be a shout out to Sportsnet or not, but I liked their contest, to tell you the truth. And I actually think this is something that they were playing with their intermission prediction contest. I think this is kind of the way the league is testing out these things. So like part of it might be some of like the in-game betting is, I guess, going to be coming to the NHL eventually. But this was a little bit of that. And it actually was fun. And I really looked forward to it. And honestly, I think I was more engaged in the playoffs going forward than I might have been because I was like looking forward to getting my points for that contest. So that's kind of a weird kind of roundabout thing that doesn't have to do with the games necessarily. But this is part of, I think, some of the entertainment type things that are going to be coming to NHL broadcasts in the future. And I kind of think they were sort of testing that out, playing with it.
And of course, who got you into that contest?
So that was sort of fun. You did. You did. And I'm so glad that you did, because I was like, I don't know if I really, but then once I did, I was like, I became addicted to this game.
Yep. Yeah.
So anyway, and other than that, I don't know. There's nothing else that really leaps out to me other than those three things that you said. Like, I agree with you on those. So, yeah.
Well, we might as well get into what we're going to talk about then. Yeah.
That's right. So, what we're going to talk about today, obviously, we're going to be talking about the draft. We are, in fact, recording this mere moments after Kyle Dubas made our pick at number 15. And we're going to also get into a bit of a Leaf update. Free agency coming up on Friday. So this is a big week for our Leafs. And also some exciting news about the podcast and where we are going with it. So without further ado, let's get on with our show.
Hey, it's the draft, the NHL draft 2020. And I know I was excited for it. Although it is kind of sad too, because it's kind of weird actually, because now we have the draft, but really it should be the home opener kind of, because it's October 6th. But anyhow, at least we have something to talk about for hockey this week. We're definitely going to get it all in, but let's get to the draft here. We need to, first of all, congratulate the number 1 pick overall that went to the Rangers, Alexis Lafreniere, which I think everybody knew. And the Leafs in this draft have a total of 11 picks. And I actually thought they were going to trade the 15th overall pick, but they didn't. They went with this kid, Rodion Amirov from Russia. And I have to say, I did not think I had no information on this kid about half an hour ago. But I quickly went through Twitter and everything else. And when I saw that there was some comparison to Jake DeBrusk, and I was like, okay, well, I'd be okay with that if that's what he turns out to be, because that's a in-your-face winger. But
another comparison that I've seen is Marner Light. So
that's kind of different than Jake DeBrusk. That's totally different. But
it is. But so I think he kind of combines a little bit of both. So he's pretty highly skilled. He's a really good skater, but he's got a little bit of an edge
about that.
Yeah, a net game. Yeah,
the net game. So that's good. I mean, but I guess they say that he's about 3 years away, possibly 2-3 years away.
Yeah.
It'll be nice because. It'll be nice to see the player say something, like, because he wasn't actually there on the TV like all the other kids. They, like, when they got their name announced by the team, like, they were there on TV and you could see the reaction. But this guy being in Russia, he's playing in the KHL. Who knows? He's probably maybe sleeping right now, depending on the time.
He has a game tomorrow.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it was kind of surprising pick. I don't know. I had me and Sil were talking about it before we came on the podcast, but I mean, I was thinking that they were going to pick the D-men, like either that Braden Schneider or the Caden Goulet. I mean, they were both available at number 15. Yeah, so it was interesting that they went with the left winger, but then there's this, we've talked about him before, Jim Paliafito.
And I think Mike Fuda was saying, before they had to cut him off for making the pick, he was going on and on about how this guy is like the European scout par excellence, and that and he can pick up all the diamonds in the rough, and he tends to find these guys. So, I gotta trust that. You know?
Yeah. So if
it's all about picking, I think, the best person available and really that's right around where he lined up, right?
Yeah. So if he gave that feedback to the staff, like to Kyle Dubas and the staff here, to say that if this player's available, like to take him in that order, then they go with it, sort of thing, and they did. So
it'd be interesting to know a little bit more about his character makeup, because I think they put quite a lot of emphasis on that and the hockey IQ, like just, intelligence and hockey intelligence as well as skill. So I'm sure that we're going to learn a lot more about him in the few weeks to come.
Oh, yeah. There's already on Twitter, TSN already has, about the player himself, but not, I guess, his character, that sort of thing. I'm sure we'll see it. Unless, of course, who knows, there might be a lot of trades going on. You never know. He might not, he might be packaged part of something else. Who knows, right? Like,
who knows?
With free agency coming up on Friday and even beyond that. So, but it's exciting anyways that he got chosen. What did you think of the format for the virtual format?
I actually think that they did a pretty decent job of it. I thought it was kind of weird that for the first picks, they had their jerseys there. Like, I know for the rest of them, they basically sent all the hats from all the teams to all the players.
Right.
But I don't know. It just kind of takes a little bit away from it for me, because it's like, obviously they already knew, kind of thing.
Yeah, I like
because the jersey's there, or somebody knew in the household because it was there.
I like the one that was funny with the delays, like when they were.
Yeah.
You tell me not.
Especially the European ones.
Yeah, like it was funny because Sil sometimes tells me, because her delay on her TV, like if the Leafs are scoring or whatever, and somehow my TV is quicker than hers. So
because you have cable and I don't have cable, so I'm always streaming. So if you're streaming, then there's that. You got the digital delay. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, but these were like big delays. I don't know. I was on this virtual draft. They're just sitting there.
My favorite part, though, I have to say, and also congratulate, was for Quinton Byfield. I thought that was incredible. And that was like a history-making moment, I think. Yeah. And him going to LA, I think that is actually the perfect market for him to be in. Yeah. And so I was super, super psyched and happy about that.
Yeah, he's the
and that celebration was great.
Yeah, he's the highest drafted black player in the NHL. Yeah.
Yep. Ever. So that's a historical moment for sure.
Yeah. So that's
that was exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to this, like we obviously have, we only had one pick in the first round thanks to Dubas's maneuvering, or we wouldn't have even had that. And we do have quite a few. He has quietly amassed 11 more picks in this draft. So most of them are lower round picks, but we've already discussed how, the scouts are pretty good at finding these lower round players. And we've seen from the, even what's happened in the current Stanley Cup as well, how lower round draft picks, if you pick right, can make a huge, huge difference. So in the second round, we have for the 44th overall pick. We got a bunch of other late round picks. So we have a 4th, a 5th. We have 3 picks in the 6th round and 3 picks in the 7th round. So these later round picks are obviously going to be huge towards building our depth, because, we've got a lot of people graduating likely to the big club. And that's going to basically limit how many people we are able to be developing. Yeah. So some
we need
examples.
To replenish, basically. That's for sure. As always. But give the examples. A couple.
So some examples of some later round picks are somebody who just retired, Henrik, or actually not retired, but is not going to be back with the Rangers. Henrik Lundqvist. He's picked 2005. How do you even say that? 2005th.
Yeah, no,
in the 2000 draft.
He was 205th.
2000. 205th.
You get mixed up with the year.
In the year 2000 draft.
Excuse her.
Yes, it's a little late for us. Yeah. He's a Vezina winner and Cup finalist. We have Dougie, who was picked 134th in the 1982 draft by St. Louis. And just recently in this Cup final, the captain of Dallas Stars, Jamie Benn, was picked 129th overall in 2007. And there are many, many, many more examples that we could have chosen. So,
there's Zetterberg and Datsuk are the other two that are highly known that were picked in the later rounds. But it was interesting because I saw a note saying how since Mark Hunter left the organization that we're picking more European players in the later rounds as opposed to when he was with us. And I guess the examples of the late round picks for us recently are Janssen and Engvall. And then we had in the 6th round, we chose Connor Brown and Uncle Leo Komarov. They came in actually Komarov was picked in the 7th round. So so I think I got this all mixed up. Oh my God, it's late. Janssen and Engvall were both picked in the 7th round. Okay, and then in the 6th round, it was Connor Brown and Leo Komarov. We'll get this right. My God. All right. So, I mean, we've done pretty well in the late round picks. With
and actually, there's a few young guys that are coming up right now that are, 3 of our probably top prospects. That Bruzy, Abramov. These are all guys that were picked in later rounds that are probably going to eventually crack their lineup. So,
so a couple of the ones
well thought of. So,
a couple of the ones that I wrote down for this draft that I thought might work out would. One that was interesting. I actually learned a little bit about the Swedish Hockey League. They actually have 2 leagues over there. They have the Swedish Hockey League. And then they have
that's like their top tier league.
Yeah, and then they have it's the Super Elite League, and the Swedish Super Elite League. And there's a forward, a center, Elliot Ekmark. He's a center, 5'9". Apparently, he's like more of like he's good with his stick or active with his stick, so good on the PK, I guess. And he's pretty fast, good shot. And so that's one guy they have in the later rounds, like to say like maybe 5th or 6th. And then another guy that plays in the Swedish Hockey League is Alexander Lundkrantz. If I can pronounce that. He's a left winger, a playmaker, but can drive the net. And he does dirty work along the boards, that sort of thing. So yeah, those were 2 players that I saw. And then the last one I saw was Michael Benning, who is actually the brother of Matt Benning, who plays on Edmonton. And he's compared, not to say that he is, but obviously because he's supposed to be picked in the later rounds, he's compared to like Cale Makar, they said. So if he's still available.
Well, it's like, this is the thing, like you're looking at some of these guys that maybe aren't quite ready to make the jump, but that doesn't mean that they can't be a little bit more of a late bloomer. And with the right development, like this is the whole thing, like for later rounds, there's going to be something that is not quite right with their game. So this is where you kind of have to match them up with your organization and what your organization is good at in development. And then that's kind of how you find a fit. So like if, for example, we've got decent skating development here. So if somebody's maybe skating is not rated quite as high, that could be some way that we could develop that player. Like, I think that they're really going to be looking this for the later rounds of guys that have either had some adversity, have a chip on their shoulder where, they really have that self-belief. Like that's one thing that I remember somebody interviewed Engvall, and that's one of the things that he said that he always believed that he would make it. So they're looking for guys that have confidence. Maybe they still have, they have a lot of tools, but that 5th tool is not quite there. And, the Leafs will be like looking at, okay, is this a fit for us? Can we develop this player? I mean, as far as that goes, like, I believe in our organization for that, because they've got so many resources with regards to that, like, even if like somebody like has maybe a lot more injuries, like, our training staff is really good and has shown that they can keep people on the ice a little bit more, than, it's just different things like that.
Yeah. And then they gotta address the D, though, the defense, like for the depth of the defense, they gotta, Marincin.
Well, for sure.
Marincin and, I'm not sure about Liljegren either now. I don't know. Like, we need to have some studs there that are developing. We need on the blue line.
Well, like, far, Dubas has pretty much picked 50-50 forwards versus D in his draft picks up to now. Yeah. So are you saying then that you would prefer that he pick more D than forwards for this draft then? Well, or do you still want him to be doing like 50-50?
Well, the bottom line, I agree with what everybody else says too, is that you take the best player that's available at that point. So if it happens to be a forward and it's a clear difference between the defensemen, then you definitely take the forward. But I'm just saying, if there is a close comparable there to say for development, take the defenseman, because I think we're in need of that. Like, it's just then you go for the need, in my opinion. But I don't know. These players are listed. Who knows? They'll probably not even be available, or maybe they'll even go late, drop down farther, or some of them don't even get drafted, right? So they'll go again in another year. But they're the possibilities anyway. So we'll see what goes. And there's this whole week is going to be a lot of movement, I think, anyways, when it comes.
And actually I kind of wonder if the Montreal making that deal today, sending Domi to Columbus for Anderson, if that's kind of like, I thought maybe the floodgates would already have opened, and I was actually surprised that we did not see anything happen during the draft based on that. But I wonder if tomorrow all hell will break loose and chaos will reign. One can only hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For fans and for us. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So let's move along now. Let's get to our Leaf update. So the very first point to discuss, I think we can both say that we're very happy that Jason Spezza will again be in the fold for this year. He signs for another year at the league minimum, $700,000. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I like him. He's a veteran player. We need more of those, let's say, right? And
definitely.
Now that
to me, it's like he's like a player assistant coach.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, and I know, like, as it was being announced to say that he resigned, I actually thought of you, because I thought about the last podcast. You were saying how you were torn, like whether or not they should sign him or are they going to sign him, But then I heard a couple of his interviews on Sportsnet, TSN, and the guy's good.
His head and the heart are in the right place.
Yeah. He's good in the room. He wants to win. We need the veteran presence. And he said, he has unfinished business. So to me, that's good to say that. And that's a good thing to have in that room.
Yeah. If your old guy is hungry, that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, and he was fighting too, sort of thing and he did that with Dallas as well. Like, he's showing that he wants to win, and he's not even supposed to do that. Obviously, he's not even known for that. So, so it's I think it's good. I think it's definitely good. But and then we also had the assistant coach hirings, which were both very interesting, actually. What did you think of Manuel Holtra? I guess is the first one.
I've actually heard like really great things of him as a coach. So he is a former assistant with Vancouver, and he's replacing Paul McFarland, I guess. I think he actually was a former teammate of Sheldon Keefe's at one point, and so he will be joining him and Dave Haxtell behind the bench. Yeah, I actually think that this guy has a lot of promise, but also I think he's a guy that the players are going to listen to. I actually think that's part of the reason they hired him. He's a former player. He's very well regarded. Just some of the things that I've heard him talk about and say, I actually think that is part of the reason why they went out and got him, because they think that, kind of like how Kirk Muller is a little bit like this too with Montreal, that he kind of has a lot of respect in the room, but he also is there for motivation. He can motivate and, you know, kind of be right in the trenches with the players a little bit, which I think is kind of what he's going to be doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because his career actually was 16 years. I didn't know he actually lasted that long. He was in the league a long time, and he was actually one of the best at taking faceoffs. So for me, and that's what he worked with Bo Horvat on Vancouver. He was working on the draw with him constantly, like and giving him tips all the time to say like where he can maybe get an edge here or there, sort of thing when taking the draw. So I really am looking forward to that part of him helping us out there. And as far as
a diversity hire, I think it's awesome too, because being, you know, he's from here, he's a South Asian descent player. I've seen a lot of things on Twitter, people who are, you know, from the South Asian community that are super proud and happy that the Leafs hired this person. So that's, I think, awesome too. So
yeah, because he's definitely, I guess they're saying that he is projecting to become a head coach, basically, right? The trajectory for him is to become a head coach, and he would be the first person of South Asian background to do that. So that will be a huge achievement. So, but yeah, so he's the one assistant coach that we hired, and then we have Paul McLean. And I have to say that the first thing I thought, are we going to get that person behind the bench, the twin of Paul McLean? You know, that guy that looks exactly like him, that used to sit behind the.
Oh yeah,
remember that? It was like an exact lookalike of him. Anyways, that's immediately what I thought of, right? Which technically I shouldn't really think of that, but because he was the former NHL coach with the Senators, and most recently, I had no idea about this, but he was an assistant with Columbus. So he basically beat us in the qualifying round this last season. So so he's going to be upstairs as the eye in the sky, as they say. And he's going to be analyzing the games from up top, and then he's going to be working with the players during practice on and off the ice to give them tips, I guess, from what he sees from the press box when he's watching them. Yeah,
I think that's really important to have somebody that is part of the crew with that vantage point, because as we know from where we sometimes sit in the Scotiabank Arena, getting the vantage point from up high, sometimes you can see the whole game, and you can see things develop and things happening that you don't always notice when you're right down there where the speed is just as much more apparent, and it's like what's in front of you is what you see the most, right? So sometimes having that vantage point, I think, is a helpful different perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And he's a Stanley Cup winner as well with Mike Babcock behind the bench as an assistant with Detroit in 2008. So he has that.
I hope he's not a mole for Babcock.
Oh, well, I don't know. Did
Babcock
you hear?
Will be in the league this year.
But did you hear too?
Anyway.
As soon as I heard the name Abdelkader's available, he was bought out by Detroit today, and I thought,
yeah,
no.
I know. Thank goodness, actually, that Babcock's not our coach, or he'd be on our team probably.
For sure.
Anyway, yeah.
But yeah.
So next, I guess this is going to lead right into heading into the free agent frenzy, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you expect to happen going forward from there?
Well, I don't know. There's so many possibilities, just crazy. So I looked up, now we've gotten rid of, most likely have gotten rid of Cody Ceci and Tyson Barrie. So that's Cody Ceci was 4.2 million. Tyson Barrie is 2.7 million. So that gives us that, I guess, 6 or 7 million anyways of the cap space that is gone or will be gone. Although they say that CC might circle back or something to us, which I hope not, but I don't know.
Please God, no.
It depends. But again, you need depth on defense like you saw with Tampa, like what they needed, right, in the playoffs. So,
and under Keefe, he was playing much more into his own game as opposed to trying to do too much for the most part. If he's used in the right way,
like if
he doesn't have to play
pairing,
top line minutes, then it's not so bad, I guess.
No more.
I mean, I would say he's better than Marinson.
Yeah.
Or are they,
Yes, I would say so. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But I would say definitely he's no more with Morgan Riley. Like that cannot be the case. But,
no. And he's not going to, and he can't make 4.5 million either. He's going to be signing for 2.
Right. Yeah.
If he does. And I would hope that is after all other options have been exhausted.
Oh, yes, for sure. It can't be like now. It can't be like on Friday sort of thing. We cannot be signing
that would
him.
Just be like...
No, because we also... Actually, it's interesting because tomorrow, actually Wednesday at 5 p.m. is the RFA qualifying offer deadline.
Yeah.
And so that's where Mikheyev and Dermott come in too. So I know Dubas said yesterday in his availability that he's going to be waiting until the last possible moment, I guess, to give the qualifying offers.
Right. And I think some of these guys have arbitration rights also.
Yeah, Mikheyev does, I think. Yeah.
I think Dermott does also too. So if that's the case, then they could go that route with them.
Yeah, but I don't know. Both of these guys, we've talked about it before. They both have questions. Like Dermott did not have a good year last year, and Mikheyev with that injury. So to me, they should be taking. They should be taking the bridge deal, and especially in these COVID times, there's not a lot of money floating around. So take what you can get, sort of thing.
The other thing is we also have Freddie Gauthier and that Evan Rodriguez guy. That they may not qualify at all, and that's actually going to be probably a trend throughout the league, that there'll be a lot of RFAs that are just kind of let go to enter the free agent market. So that actually is going to give that more of a secondary tier of players that are also available on Friday. So I have a feeling there's going to be quite a lot of players that are kind of hung out to dry that way a little bit because of this. Those are the guys that are going to be surprisingly entering the UFA market that way.
Yeah. What are you thinking about this Pietrangelo situation? I'm not for it to get him. I just think it's too much to put into, we have the 4 players at the high salaries, and to give this he's 30 years old already, and to give him, I don't think his heart is here either. Like, he's from here, but I just don't think he doesn't want to play here. So why?
Well, I don't know if we can speak to his heart. Like, for what I've been hearing from people that are so-called, in quotes, friends of his, he wants to play here. So,
really? Oh, I haven't heard anything like that. I haven't heard
I've
say
heard
that he doesn't.
Stuff like that.
Oh, really?
I've heard a ton of stuff like that. I think if it wasn't for his wife being from there, in a heartbeat, he would be doing this. Yeah.
Your dad always said it.
So that's right. It's a happy wife, happy life thing. But so I don't think that you can actually say that we don't know that his heart would be here.
Well, I don't know.
He has a lot on his plate, that's for sure, with the young family and everything. And for sure, this organization, if they did go that way, would do everything in their power to make things so easy for them. But I don't know. Like put it this way, if we got him, am I thinking, yes, definitely go for it. We have to get him at all costs. No, I'm not thinking that. But then they better find 2 other guys for that same money that are going to make a big impact for our team. If we did get him, would I hate it? No, because he's going to make us better. And
I'm not.
He's probably going to make an immediate impact on our team for the better.
Yeah.
Somebody for Morgan Riley to play with.
Yeah.
I honestly.
That's for sure. But I don't know long term, though, he is 30. But I suppose if within a couple of years we win the cup because of making that move and getting it, then I'm fine with that sort of thing, right? But there's no guarantee, obviously. But I was looking at the other possibilities to say, like you were saying, instead to get like 2 defensemen, let's say, instead of just the one. Some of the names that I was looking through the UFA lists that are coming up are that Travis Hamonic that plays on Calgary, although I don't think he wants to come to East. But anyways,
I don't know. I don't think so either, because I remember how he wanted to get out of the Rangers or New York so badly to get out west to be nearer his family. So,
but then when it comes to this with this environment, you may not have a choice either, right? Like when it's this time. Anyways, the other guy we talked about a while ago was Brandon Montour, who's an RFA actually with Buffalo. Now he's only 26 and he's a right-hand defenseman as well, so he would be really good if we could manage to, depending on what, I don't even know if Buffalo will qualify him like by tomorrow. I haven't even heard. The other guy I thought I know this other Dylan DeMello. He's on Winnipeg.
That's who I was just going to mention.
Yeah.
He's definitely be talked about quite a bit.
Yeah. And then the other guy that I didn't realize that he was a unrestricted free agent is Trevor Van Riemsdyk on Carolina.
Yes, I know. And I've heard him linked to us too, a little bit too.
Oh, yeah?
So that would be interesting if we had a TVR instead of the JVR. But we've talked before about Josh Manson too, and that's another one
that's
that
a trade.
I think
that would be a trade.
That would be a trade, yeah.
And then the wild card one, which I looked at his age and I thought, oh wow, he's already 35, is Dustin Byfuglien.
Yeah, but I've already heard he's not going to play this year.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For this year, he's not playing. Yeah.
So those are out of. I don't know. I looked through like 500 players, I think, on the NHL website that are UFAs and RFAs. Those are the ones that I picked out.
So we're talking D there, but what do you think of the whole Wayne Simmons angle and him saying or it being implied that he would take $1 million to play here?
Oh, did he say that?
I heard that today.
Oh, that's great then. I'm happy with that. Oh, I think he'd be as long as he doesn't.
Yeah, he would take a hometown discount to play here, but he would probably want more than 1 year. So it would be 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, well,
But I know that Montreal's also going after him too, so.
He doesn't want to go to the Habs. He's from Scarborough. He's a hometown boy. He's from here. There's no way that he'd go to the Habs if it doesn't matter if the Habs give him like an extra 500,000, he'll still come here. But yeah, he's from Scarborough. He's from here. He's 32 years old.
Buffalo is still in the mix though for him as well. But he said also that he feels better right now than he has in several years. Yeah. So he's feeling fully healthy.
Yeah, I heard.
And again, I go back to our training staff and stuff. Like we got the corner covered on that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to get him, and he'd be put in a spot too where like he could be on the third line, let's say, or like in the bottom
fourth line.
Yeah, bottom six basically. And when we need that net front presence, who knows? Maybe he can come on the power play. So, and put he's a big body in front of the net. So yeah, I'm totally fine with that because I guess Kyle Clifford decided to not accept our offer. We were offering just over $1 million. I think it was 1.2 million or something.
Right. But I think that they could circle back also. There's potential for that. I think he just wants to see if he could get more somewhere else. And with this flat cap, he may not. You know? So it's all about, I guess, exploring and then, hopefully he's not left out in the cold.
Yeah. So I don't know. Other than that, I mean, it looks as though he, like Freddie is doing okay. That Dubas gave his, I guess, approval to say that he will be or should be our number one goalie. I don't know. On opening night,
he expects he will be.
Yes. Yeah. So I was all excited about that. And then, we'll get into this a little bit later. I won't say anything about it. About Freddie. Anyways, yeah. Moving on. So I don't know. Did you have any other free agent possibilities or?
No,
that you saw,
not really. No, I think that we're all pretty focused on
defense.
On defense right now, obviously.
Yeah.
And in free agency, I think that that's where they're going to probably get a player that way. I still think that there are also going to be trades. So, I don't know what he is going to do that way, but I have a feeling that there's going to be some other bodies that are moved out. So that they can bring in somebody else.
Yeah, it's like the Janssen. I've heard about Engvall.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, he's trying to stay away as much as possible from the core four. Definitely Matthews and Tavares, they're not going anywhere. Like, they're just locked sort of thing. So it's the other two. But I highly doubt it.
I feel like, though, that, we are losing a little bit of our depth at center now. So I do think that he needs to kind of shore up our center depth a little bit. So I don't know if he's going to do that, like which avenue he's going to take to meet those needs. But we kind of need to bolster that a little bit.
I guess Kerfoot was the other one that could go.
That's why I don't think that they'll trade him because that would just really leave a huge hole.
Because we've screwed her. I won't say the other player's name. Because Sylvia will punch me in the face right through this camera that I'm looking at her if I mention it. Anyways. All right. So that's all we got for the free agency. I mean, it's a couple of days away. And
so let's get on to some podcast news then. So we obviously just mentioned that we are embarking on season 2 now of Ladies Talking Leafs. So thank you so much for our listeners to, making our first season so successful. But with that though, like we have some improvements to announce with our podcast and some things that you're going to see going forward. So basically, for now, we're still going to be following our same schedule of publishing once a month on the first Wednesday of the month. But once the season actually starts, which I guess they are looking at January 1st now, we're looking to move to increasing our frequency to twice a month. So every 2 weeks, you can expect to hear from us. And the other thing is we are working on a new website so that we can kind of start offering even more content for you guys as well. And I don't even think I mentioned this to Christine, but I'm thinking that we can probably launch that on January 1st in line with the league season start. So,
And I mean, that's why it's only us two, basically, as Sylvia is saying. So when we create these things and put these new announcements, it's only between the two of us that need to know. We're just a 2-woman machine here. But and then the third thing, which kind of goes in line with it, is that we've had some people have asked us to if there's a way to support us in our efforts for producing the show, because. Like I've had comments before where like people have come up to me saying, "Oh, they love the passion that we have for the Leafs, and can we give you $10 or $2 or whatever sort of thing, right, to help you with the show because it's great." And so we've decided to join a program. It's called the website is called Ko-fi or Coffee. I think it's coffee.com, and so basically
that's KO-FI.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's but when you donate, it actually shows a little coffee cup. So it's kind of like,
I know. It's cute. It's cute.
so it's kind of like you're buying us a coffee. Kofi coffee. Some of you may have heard of it. Anyways, it's similar to a social media site in that you can follow us too, and we'll have posts on it. And yeah, you can donate whatever you want. There's no bottom line. But yeah, we're going to have more information on this on our social media in the coming days. We're just getting some stuff finalized on it. So so we're always looking for updates from our listeners to make the podcast better for you. And there's lots, and there's going to be lots more to look forward to too. We have a couple other plans in the works, but we don't want to mention those until we actually get them more finalized. But it's exciting. I'm excited about it, and but it does take a lot of work, as we know that it's about 10:30 now after the draft, and Sylvia's leaning on her hand and looks like she's going to fall asleep maybe, but
no, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm far too excited to fall asleep.
But so anyways, we want to actually give a shout out to our international listeners, and this is the part where Freddie comes in. So
we actually have some new first-time listeners from Mexico City, in the UK, and also in Denmark. So we're wondering if this is Freddie maybe listening to us, or maybe the King, who we know is a fan of Freddie's. But we just want to welcome these listeners to the fold, and thank you so much for tuning into us. As always, we want to say, keep listening and send us your feedback. You can follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, our Facebook page, all at LTL1917. Or definitely, even if you want to give us a shout out or have a question or some feedback you want to give us directly, you can always find us at ladiestalkingleafs@gmail.com. That's our email. And that's all we have for today. We are going to be talking to you again in November, and obviously keeping a lookout on this free agent frenzy. And you never know, if something really exciting happens, you may hear from us sooner.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Stay safe and happy Thanksgiving.